Some musicians find success at a very early age, and Freddie Pate is one of the lucky few. He started out singing in nightclubs in Los Angeles at the age of 8 years old, and tonight he's going to be telling his story at a special concert at the Rice Theater while performing some of his latest tunes off the new album titled Crossroads. Please welcome Freddie Pate. Thanks for coming in today and bringing your guitar along with you. Now, you've got a lot of stories to tell, especially starting out at such a young age.
Yes, ma'am. I started doing this really young. I started learning chords probably when I was 4 or 5 years old. And then, like I said, my grandma, I used to call her Colonel Parker because she could talk my way into a bunch of places. And so she started befriending some of the bands around the area, and I started singing on the weekends with them around 8. And then 15 years old, I went to work 6 nights a week.
And this was as a musician?
As a musician, yeah. Much to the chagrin of my grandpa.
And he didn't like that too much?
Well, he wanted me to get a real job. So,
well, artists, you know, it is a real job. Art is a real job.
Yeah, but my grandpa didn't think so. He thought I ought to go to work down at the gas station, and you know, and in a few years you could. He said you could own your own gas station. I thought, no, I don't think I want to pump gas the rest of my life.
You'd rather create music.
Absolutely.
All right. Were you always interested in sort of the country music end of the spectrum?
Excuse me. Yeah, pretty much. My grandma, like I said, she raised me, and the most rock and roll we got in my house was Elvis. That was it. Other than that, it was Hank Williams and George Jones and Ernest Tubb and those guys, and a country deal. And then, of course, as I grew a little older, I started, you know, listening to other stuff too. But yeah, it's a country music deal for me for sure.
Well, how'd you get from Los Angeles to Louisiana?
Well, actually, I moved to Houston in 1975, and through that, I stayed here over there about 15 years. Then I moved here in 1990 to go to work with Wayne Tubes.
Okay.
Wayne and I had become friends, and his guitar player quit and said, "Hey, you interested?" And I said, "Yeah." So I moved here, and my daughter married a guy from Rain, and so they started having grandkids. So I'm going to stay here a while.
Put your roots down right here.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I live at Bundy Lake, and I love it up there. So.
It is a beautiful area.
Absolutely.
And you're giving us some big names in music. You've worked with a lot of them.
Yeah, I have. I've been blessed, you know. I've worked with George Jones and Hank Williams Jr. and Conway Twitty and Ronnie Milsap, Haggard, just about all of them, really. But I've been blessed, you know, and so I actually opened a show in Houston back in 1985 for Merle Haggard, Hank Jr., Ronnie Millsap, Ricky Skaggs. So yeah, I've been doing this a while, and I love it. I love it.
All right, very, very exciting.
Yeah, and this Saturday, the show is really, you know, if you've ever been to our show before, I have the Freddie Pate Jamboree, and it's a big production. It's a 9 or 10 piece band. But this Saturday, we're cutting it back, and we're going to talk about kind of like we're talking tonight or today, you know, about where I came from and how I got there. Butch Tinker, who's a Big A pawn here in Lake Charles, is a great singer and a great songwriter, and he's been with us actually for about 15 years. And actually, he wrote the title cut on the album called Crossroads. So there's a connection there to y'all here, too.
All right. A lot of local roots happening tomorrow evening at the Rice Theater in Crowley. You'll be able to pick up Freddie Pate's new CD, Crossroads, over there, and you can get more information at freddipate.com. And Freddie's going to play us on into the break. Up next, keeping that youthful glow during the winter months.